Well, it has been a while since I've made any videos, hasn't it? Yeah, what was I gonna say there anyway? I've had a lot of shit going on and just haven't had the inclination or anything to sort of even sit down and work on stuff like this. So I started on this, radio, TV and hobbies, bridge here, and I've, been working on this a bit at a time. Well, that's a lie, actually. It's just been sitting in a million pieces on this countertop here. We've just crap piled everywhere and no room to move, and I cleaned up the counter the other day and thought I'd sit down and do a bit of work on this. Painted it up and everything with the hammer finish and everything, got all rust out and all sorts of stuff with that, but I'm waiting. I have to get some parts to finish working on this one. And yeah, anyway, so I thought, I hate the brightness thing. My actual camera has gone fucked because I just randomly on the spur of the moment decided to make a video, so I'm just doing a quick bit with the phone first, and when that's charged I'll go grab that. But I'm gonna have a look at this thing today, see if I can't get this working, because given that this is a commercially manufactured thing, it shouldn't be as big a pain in the ass as that other one, which is from a kit or rather a magazine article. So, because I pretty much decided to rebuild this thing, this one I should imagine should be very simple to get going, depending on the condition inside and all that sort of stuff. And I shouldn't need to get any parts for this one. So obviously I don't know if it works. I haven't plugged it in. I'm sure as hell not going to. I have no idea what's inside of the thing. I cannot find a circuit diagram or really any information at all about it. So it's going to be a matter of take it apart, see what's inside, and go from there. Alright, I've got the screws out, and I think I mentioned in another video about these when I got them, that looked like no one had been in there, but I wasn't really wearing my glasses that day, I don't think, because these screws obviously have been taken out, you can see, but I have no idea if this still has all the valves in it or anything like that, but or if it's been sort of butchered up for other bits and pieces, but the eye is still in there, and I think that's a good sign that it probably has got all the guts in it still, because I'd imagine if anyone was going to cannibalise the thing for parts, they'd probably go for this first. Okay, let's see what's inside. Ooh. Which one is it? Probably some triode or something. What have we got? 6J7. I'll have to look that one up. There's a rectifier there. It's still got all the getter in it. It's still shiny there. I don't know what number. What is that? Cannot see. I'll have to pull them out later and look. The eye is in this nice shielded thing. Oh, these little beehive Phillips made trim caps. They seem to be very common in Australian made stuff. But it's Phillips. Everything in Australia's got, Australian made's got full of Phillips stuff, it seems. And it's a monkey power supply capacitors. Ew. So this probably would have gone bang if I'd plugged it in, and some type of plastic type or a ceramic or something that's cracked in half, and another one of those manky Spewcon electrolytics down there, so they'll have to be replaced. It looks like the transformers potted in some bitumen type stuff. Is this just down there? Is that? That looks like a mustard. Oh no, that's a wax paper. So this, I don't think it's entirely original. Some of that sort of looks a bit shiny. But yeah, I'll have to see. I don't know, I'd say this thing would probably be like in maybe 40s or 50s. Molded paper capacitor. These will be the standards up here. Obviously as a bridge you need the standards for the measurements. Oop. I'm quite happy this is all nice and still in one piece and everything's still in there, so I don't even know how the hell this thing's wired. Obviously this would be the amplifier, but yeah, I don't have a circuit diagram. It's really nice the way that that's looming and all of that stuff. It's definitely a Philips made thing. It's really good quality. I love old Philips stuff. Philips is always really good quality. Alright, so I've been sitting here having a look over this. As manky as that transformer looks, it's probably okay. I haven't tested it yet. So these are the main power supply filter capacitors on the high tension. And then, as far as I can tell, that is probably a cathode bypass capacitor for that valve that was up here, and this is a Technico. Don't know what the fuck that is. Probably, I think it's a molded paper or something. Some type of plastic encased paper thing or something like that. I don't know. Could be a very, very early polycap or something like that. I really doubt it though. The age of this thing. I think that does look like it's original. I'm sure that's original. What else do we have? So down here, not original and not original. I can tell this is a replacement, this wax paper here. Also, all the joints look a bit shinier, and yeah, this one here is definitely a replacement. Doesn't match any of the other types. This is more of a one of these, probably from the maybe 1960s, 1950s, 60s. I mean, these style of resistors here I've not seen a lot of, admittedly, but they seem to be sort of from like the period this was like made, from 40s, 50s. I honestly don't know. This is a very modern style one here though. I think that's the carbon film or something like that, so that's definitely not original. Everything else looks to be though. These are, and that Spewcon one over there, so that'll be all mostly just power supply stuff down here, and then this related to the amplifier. I guess these would probably be coupling capacitors. What I got here, these three are parallel and they make up the, what we got on the front there, 1 microfarad range standard, and they're all cracked like Bakelite encased paper things. These are also Technicon. There's another Spewcon there. We got the old, as you see everywhere, the old Michael ones will be fine. Those form the other two capacitance stands. This one's got a trimmer on it, which I don't know if that's been molested or not. All the wax, it looks broken and stuff, so it's probably been fiddled about with. Not that that's a big deal. And we got resistance standards down here, as I thought before, until they all got to the range switch. And then that's the amplifier gain pot, which goes into this limit. It's hard to follow everything. I don't know what all these resistors are yet. So obviously these ones over here are all standards. These would be part of the amplifier circuit or something, I'm not sure. As I said, I don't have a circuit diagram, so I'm thinking my best bet with this is check out the transformer and see if it's any good, and replace these power supply electrolytics and these bad in the bypass there and the other capacitors, the coupling capacitors or whatever they are, and then see what happens. So I'm not going to bother with these standard ones yet, because they're probably going to be at a low voltage or something anyway, so down they're going to go bang, although they would need replacing. As I said, I know what sort of circuitry is of bridge use or anything, and then this is one of the windings off the transformer, which is like that's always a bad thing. Don't know what they're supposed to go to if they ever went to anything. That might be, you know, a winding that's used to supply the bridge. I don't know. That this certainly does not look original. I'm guessing this pot's probably been replaced. They put this other one here to sort of trim out the value or something and make it match up the scale. That's my best guess. Yeah, I don't know. So let's see where I go from here. Alright, so camera's charged now. And it's actually 1 day later than yesterday, which is an odd statement to make, but that's not doing the other bits anyway. So where are we now? I've taken all those main caps out. And here they are. They are well and truly fucked. The rubber's gone disgusting in the end, and they've dried out. They're all rating higher than their actual rating, so yeah, that's this one. They've dried out, and in this case, it's kind of pointless testing them, but just purely out of curiosity. And I've been looking for a date code on this. Sometimes you find date codes on these old capacitors. Just want to date this thing, but this has got no dates anywhere on it. So we've got, this would be that cathode bypass. So it's a 25 microfarad 40 volt. I've got what have I got to replace that? I've got 25 microfarad 63 volt. I'll do the job. It's one of these old grey Elna ones, which you usually are like, well, when I find them in things, they're usually almost always bad, but I've got a big bag of these. They're brand new and they all test okay. Yeah, I don't know if it'll sort of last, but you know, they're there, so I'm going to use them, and if they're good, then in future I can replace it should I wish to do so. And I got some recycled capacitors because I'm a bit poor at the moment. I can't go do an order from IRS. I've got some 10 volt 10 microfarad 450s for the power supply. That plasticky type one, which I am thinking before I do anything else, I'm going to crack this open just out of morbid curiosity. Some sort of plastic encased thing. I don't know what sort of plastic. It's not Bakelite. For the age, I don't even know what types of plastics they had back then, aside from like phenolic. I'm just curious anyways. I want to see if it's paper or what. It's a 0.1 microfarad 400 volt So it's 100 nanofarad. So let's replace this with a regular yellow plastic capacitors, you know, they're fairly ubiquitous. But I'm curious to see what's in this anyway. So I haven't seen one of these particular ones before. I've got some stamped on here. It says 1250, so be a date code, December 1950, I don't know. Okay, let's see if I can crack it open without causing some kind of grievous injury to myself. It is completely cracked. This might be ceramic, I don't know. I think it is. I can't tell, it feels as seems plasticky, but also, I don't know. I think it might be a ceramic of some type. I had to break a hammer out for this one. Like a fucking chisel. It is actually a paper type. So happens this thing's cracked open. That's no good because moisture obviously gets in. I think the idea of these things is they're supposed to be encased so that, you know, well, you know, paper capacitors have that problem for moisture getting in. There's cheap wax ones that, and paper goes all flaky and real. It's a bit like kitchen non-stick paper actually. Foil on one side here. I don't know how long this is. Good meter and a half long. Okay. So I've got the construction of these is they've got the foil as the plates of the capacitor and plus paper insulated between them. It's pretty much still how they make them, except instead of paper they use some plastic film, like mylar or, you know, those types of things. Layers of foil shot. Oh, there we go. So we've got some metallized paper stuff there with the tin foil on one side, and then another one here, and insulated between, and two plates, and they roll it up so that they can fit into a small space anyway. That was really uninteresting. So yeah, let's have a look at the actual thing now and see if I can get it working. I want to do before I put those new capacitors in is sort of suss out this transformer. I've checked the primary winding on that, and yeah, it's not shorted or anything, so I can't remember what I checked it. That was all those words. Yeah, with the way the power supply is wired up, I'd expect it would just be. And usually you just have like a center tap transformer, wouldn't you, with sort of your two anodes and a common cathode on the two outer parts with the center tap connector chassis, but it's difficult to see what the windings are on this transformer when it come out because it's coated with bitumen and all the wires are in up here, and I really don't want to take it out because they're going to be wires and stuff going to be rather fragile. So the rectifier valve goes in here, so I've got the data sheet, so it should be simple enough to just look at the base diagram for that and see what's going on there. So we've got, there's the key part there, so we got, should have pins 2 and pin 7, that's these two should be the filaments. One side, pin 2 is tied to the chassis, So 1/2 of the filament winding must be earth. And pin 7 buggers off down to somewhere up here, and it also runs over to the other, to that pentode over there. So this one's obviously the 6.3 volt supply, and cathode should be pin 8, and that it is. So that one's a high tension, which is pretty clearly obvious. I already derived that before, given that the capacitors, the positive of those capacitors, one went to here and the other one goes to the other side of this resistor, so that resistor will be acting like a choke, basically. So I don't know if this has a center tap. We have the 2 plates, pin 3 and 5, so that's these 2, so that's the 2 plates. Very annoyed at the camera. Does that thing no one else does. A card full, doesn't tell me it stops recording. So I've already been through all this and talked all about it and everything, and didn't. But the camera wasn't recording, so I'm pretty fucking pissed off anyway. So we've got to figure out, as best as I can figure out so far, is right. So we've got this one's a filament. 1/2 of whatever winding filaments power from is connected to the chassis, so I'll get, you know, how many ohms I've bloody measured before. I can't be asked to do it again. So these 2 are the plates, and I'm not getting anything between these 2. Now I'd expect if it was a center tap, the center tap would be connected straight to here, and these 2 would be the outer parts, the outer 2 connections. So that gives you a full wave. Think of like if you got 2 diodes, you know, on each, one on the positive half of the cycle, one on a negative half, connected to each of the 2 ends of the winding, and then in the center, if you got that connected to the chassis, that's the return path. So it's, you know, gives you your full wave, so you get the positive and the negative half of the cycle, and it's like rather than, you know, only getting one of each half, in which case you just get, well, you'd get a shitty power supply, that's what you get. But anyway, so I'm not really making a lot of sense out, and I'm not getting anything between these 2, it's weird. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But if I go from this one to the chassis, I'm getting 742 ohms. Go from this one to the chassis, 799 ohms, that's a difference of 50 ohms. So that would sort of check out as being like center-ish tapped. Ish, I'd say ish. So I'm going to be perfectly tapped at the center, so some basis. Shouldn't verbalise my thoughts if I don't know what they bloody are, but I'm satisfied enough that I can test the things, put some voltage into the primary, and then I can measure the voltages on here and see what I get. So I'll do this in a more sort of, I want to do this in a relatively safe-ish way, rather than just putting 240 volts straight in there to first go, as I've got a spaghetti mess of 12 volt transformer. So what I'll normally do is I'll hook up the 12 volts to the primary and measure voltages on the secondary, and also measure the voltage coming out of the 12, because it's not going to be exactly 12, it's going to be, you know, depending on what the mains voltage is, because it fluctuates. It could be a bit more, it could be a bit less, so Then I can just divide the primary voltage by the secondary voltage. I can get whatever the sort of multiplication factor of the transformer is, and then, you know, multiply that by 240 or whatever, and give me a fair idea what the actual voltage is going to be at the with 240 volts in it, but also tells me if the thing actually works or not. I hope that made sense. I know it didn't make sense, but yeah, anyways. Yeah. Alright. There we go. Is it focus? This, I think it's focus. Too bad if it fucking isn't out. But 12 volts into here. We should measure that. I'm getting about 15.5, so I'll write that one down. So this is what's coming straight out of this. 15.5, and we're getting. So I should check the filament one first. I reckon I should get. So I've got 1.2 coming out of that. So between these two, we've got 42.8. So 42.8 from plate to plate, and from this one's the output one, which isn't going to have anything on it because there's no fucking valve in there. So from here to chassis, we're probably going to get half that, so probably about 21. 21.5 and 21.3. So that checks out about what I'd expect if it is the center tap. So does that pentode? I didn't actually check the base diagram, so I don't actually know what these are, what all these pins are. I should do all of this shit first before I start filming. At any rate, I'm sort of satisfied that, you know, I'm going to get something legitimate out of this, so let's do a quick bit of maths here. So we got this 42 from plate to plate, wasn't it? So let's assume that this is that these two are just one winding. So let's go 42.8, 15 divided 1.5 divided 2.7, so 6. So if I had 240 in here, I would have 662 between here and here, but so that'll be about 331 volts there. Seems legit. So, because you don't have the voltage drop of the valve and all of that stuff. So yeah, it does all seem legit. So, thinking what I'll do first, I'll put new capacitors in now. I'll clean up in here a little bit first. Put the new capacitors in, and just whack that rectifier valve in. I won't put anything else in there. I'll leave the other two valves out. So I've taken that eye out. Actually, I didn't show that before, did I? It's the 6U5. It's one of these. I don't remember what these sockets are called. A 6-pin ones with no key thing in the middle. Can't remember what they're called. Yeah. Alright, I've got the actual mains right on there now. This is the fun part, isn't it? So I just got a logical cord here. So I've just, this is only temporary just for testing, so I just got some of these little screw terminal things. I've just twisted that straight onto the original wires that were left over, and I've connected the earth just because. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to do a very quick test. So I don't like fucking around with the main stuff, but I'm just going to check voltages across these here with the mains there now, and then maybe I think I'll put that rectifier in before I put any of the capacitors or anything there. See what comes out of it. Comes out. Oh, it's burning. That's always a good thing, isn't it? Be fucking careful now. Trying to be very careful here, so I don't want to, you know, die or anything. There's someone with me meter here, so I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but I've got about, what we got here, about 340, and we got about 340 there too, so that's about right. I'm not sure why I'm not 340, so that'd be about 680ish here, but I'm not getting anything across there. I think there's something weird going on with my meter though. Oh, the ranging, it might not go that high, I don't know. So I don't usually test voltages this high, it's not with that meter, so nothing's burning still, so I'm reasonably happy that I should be able to check the HT on that. That will be unfiltered and everything, of course, but I like that valve in there. Let's see what happens, eh? Maybe I'll short out. Yeah, go bang or something. Yeah, that'll be right. Well, she's glowing. So we want. I mean, what do you want? Stupid brain, shut up brain. So about 305 volts coming out of the rectifier, that's about right. That's about what I calculated. 305. So, I think I said something like 330, didn't I? But that's, you know, the drop of the thing be about 20 volts or somewhere thereabouts, so okay, so I'm going to put them capacitors in, and yeah, anyway, okay, I've got so power supply capacitor replacements, so they're both 10 microfarad 450s. The originals, what were they? 8. So, you know, 10's fine. Usually, the reason I've recycled these is because all of the new ones that I've got are really large values in this sort of voltage rating, and with solid state stuff, it's not that big a deal. Like, it doesn't really hurt anything to just put a bigger one in, but this valve stuff, if you have limitations to how big your filter capacitors can be, because, you know, the surge current that sort of flows when you first turn on and they charge and they suck all the juice in that they do, can kind of be a bit harsh on the valve and everything. So what I've got anyway is I've just got a piece of tag strip, some of this stuff, and I cut a little piece off, so I've bent the terminals up and I've soldered the positives of the capacitors to those, and just run a couple of wires off and both the negative sides I've just tied together, and then like these little terminal lug things, and that's just to make it easier to reconnect the negatives, because the negatives were soldered onto the chassis here and over here, and it's going to be a bitch to get in it. So this is just going to get screwed onto where the old one is. I've left the original bracket there just in case in the future I want to put more larger original sized capacitors back in. This is just going to bolt onto there and the earth, and I'm going to put one of those anti-vibration washers that bites into the metal, so I get a good connection to the chassis through the screw there, make things a lot easier. And that should be that. I think over here I might do something similar over here, I don't know yet. We'll see how things go. Well, I'm really terribly annoyed now. Firstly because I just recorded this when I'm recording now, and I'm recording it again for the second time because this fucking camera. Anyway, so I fucked this up. And it's always shit when you do this and you go to all this effort to make this all look nice and everything, do all the work, and then just feel like shit, I fucked up. Well, so they're 450 volt rated capacitors, and voltage that was coming out of the rectifier, as I measured before, without them in, I think it was something like 300-ish. What I failed to take into account, which is what's annoying because it's such a basic, simple fucking thing, unfiltered DC is going to average out lower than the peak voltage, which is whatever the peak voltage is here that's coming out of the rectifier, and you add a smoothing capacitor that smooths a waveform so that there's, you know, that pulse DC that's going to look like will look like a straight line, or be ripple or whatever. Depends on the size of the capacitor, but potentially you get up to the full peak voltage. And I tested it and everything after putting it in, and it does work, but yeah, we're getting, I think that one, that was the one directly on the rectifier, that one gets 456 or 55, 56, somewhere thereabouts, and this one which comes after that, these two resistors in parallel here, which are like a choke, like I said before. Normally they'd have a choke and something that draws a bit more current. This obviously doesn't draw enough current for a choke, but yeah, these drop the voltage a bit, so that one's about, I think I was reading about 445 somewhere thereabouts. So given that they're 450 volt rated capacitors, this one is exceeding its working voltage, and this one's like a bee's stick away from its working voltage. Now they will work like this and they'll tolerate it, but it's going to drastically shorten their life. I don't know by how much, but you know, eventually they're going to fail eventually. You know, might even short out and smoke the transformer, who knows. I'm not leaving them in there. But yeah, it's really a pain in the ass when it happens. I don't normally, I mean, I work with valve stuff now and then, but not on a very regular basis. Almost everything I do is all solid state, so I'm not used to having to worry about, you know, higher voltage ratings and stuff like that, so I sort of tend to just not think so much about this stuff, and I really should anyway. So what I'm going to do is, unfortunately, the only 500 volt ones I've got are these bloody big monsters. They're 390 microfarads, so no, that is certainly not suitable. So my plan is I have some, these are 350 volt rated 22 microfarads, so I'm going to get two of these in series which will drop it down to 11 microfarads, and the voltage across each one will be half the voltage, so it'll be within its working voltage rating, and it should be fine. I will also put some resistors in parallel with these that'll help to equalise the voltage. And it also means they'll discharge when the power's turned off through the resistors, so it's a little bonus, I guess. Yeah, it's all pretty ghetto and everything, but that's what I've got on hand, and to the best of what I've got. I don't have the money to really go and buy, you know, the correct voltage rating ones. They're really actually quite expensive at higher voltages, so be $5 to $10 each, and yeah, maybe for most people that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but you know, I can barely afford groceries at the moment, so fuck. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to save this little thing that I made up, because that can actually be used for, I can use that in that other bridge that I'm working on, so, because that one doesn't have such high voltage on the HT supply, and yeah, and all of it. So got the other capacitors ready to just stick in here, so yeah, I'll get all this done and hopefully that'll be it. Okay, so after much more swearing and carrying on and throwing things and all sorts of stuff like that, it is sort of kind of working, kind of sort of. So get into that in a minute, but just give a quick look at this thing. So with the between the middle terminal left's for doing capacitors, and this one is for resistors. I've got a 100 ohm film resistor here. I measured out, it's about 90 something, about 90ish. It's always ish when you've got an analog scale like this, but I've checked it with the multimeter and this is fairly reasonable. So they're set to a 100 volt range, and as you can see there is there's a 1 on here somewhere, it's over there. So as I turn up, the eye will start to open as it approaches the right value, as the balance goes in and the balance goes out. Alright, so that's balanced now, and that's reading at about 0.9. It's hard to see, actually no, that's reading at a bit higher than 1 actually. So this scales off, but there's various reasons for that, partly because it's floppy, but numerous other things too. We'll get to that in a second. So sensitivity is adjusts the gain and everything. I'll go into all that in a bit. So I've sort of traced out most of the circuitry and stuff. Right, so what I've done with those capacitors, I'll get to that first. Is that not horrendous? So I've just gone and I've got, what were they? They were 22s, weren't they? So I've got two 22s in series there, 2 in series there, and got a 560k balance resistors. So I've got 1, 2, so they're in series with them. And yeah, it's gone down to here, and yeah, it's all pretty fucking, ghetto and horrifying, but it works, and no flames or anything have come out of the thing, so it's, yeah, who cares? If it works, it works, it works. It works. It's got a cathode bypass in there, and you got, this was, I think that's on the, it's on the suppression grid for the, what's the name, bugger, I don't know, it's too late to say words. There's a coupling capacitor which goes up. Did I replace that? Was that wax paper one? That one goes up to, runs up to this pot here, which which is nice, so you can't even see the fucking thing. So that coupling capacitor goes up into this pot here, and the center, the wiper of the pot, just goes straight to earth, so that, you know, yeah. We got, that is the balance pot there, so here's a, so that was obviously replaced by a previous owner, and they fucked up the repair job because they had it connected to the wrong spot. So this one here, which probably might take this resistor out because that could have something to do with the scale being off, I don't know. But I would think they would have put that there to trim this scale, but yeah, I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but they had this actually, so I was tracing through, this should have gone to this terminal, but that was connected to that bottom terminal, and that bottom terminal here is where this goes in, which is that winding of the transformer that had the loose wires with the tape over it. As it turns out, that is the supply for the bridges, I thought it was, and it's 3.3 volts or something like that, and that is actually supposed to go into that one and into that one. So I've got that reconnected and reconnected this to the correct terminal that it's supposed to go to, and now it works because it didn't work before. As I said, it wouldn't work before, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so yeah, there's gonna have to be a bit more work. I have to put proper power cord on and install a power switch and a fuse on the mains as well. This just does not have either, and it's from the age it was, I don't know, it was early 50s or whatever, might not have been common back then to have a switch on something like this. So that's why in Australia our power points have always had to have switches, and as specified in the wiring rules and stuff, presumably anyways. That's my best guess. I just pulled that out of my ass. So yeah, just polish all these knobs up and for it to be painted and everything. I'm not doing that now. And of course these things here have got to be replaced because they're fucked with a capital F. And yeah, various fiddling about and everything. I'm sure you will see another video about this thing some stage in the future, because I also want to make some modifications to it, because even with the thing, you know, fully working and operational and everything, it's not terribly useful. You know, it's a nice neat old piece of equipment, but it's not terribly useful. It does, you know, if you want to check the value of a fucking capacitor or resistor, just use a multimeter. But I can see some potential uses for the thing, and so I'd like to make some modifications to it. I'm not sort of a big fan of just, you know, restore something back to like brand new looking and put it on a fucking shelf. Just, especially something like this, it's not very useful. I'd rather turn it into something useful. So yeah, anyway, starting to ramble, so thanks for watching and all that shit, see ya.